Cool, cool. I've clearly done a lot more of these since the last recording. They, well, hmm. If I adjust the light, it'll probably cause black banding over the video, but that's a risk I'm willing to just go ahead and do. There we go. Yeah, I could see that a little bit. I can't like see where I painted the eyes on them, although I did do so. Yeah, you can see it on that guy. The eyes, of course, look cartoonish at best, but if you don't put anything there, it just looks wrong from a distance. So feel pretty good about that. But they're not completely done. There's still another step or two that I would like to do. I've mixed some, or put some splotches of brown and green over the sand that I had glued to their bases, and I put a dark brown wash over that, the one made by Citadel called Agrax Earthshade. I'm not going to take some bright yellow and just dry brush a little bit of that over that. And that actually is what I consider the finishing touch of the grass on the bases for these guys. So I'm just going to put, way too much. You didn't see it, but it was way too much of the demonic yellow on my palette. And actually, just something unfortunate to report. I did have an accident. I've got to get better at phrasing. Not that kind of accident. My bootstrap brown was not coming out of the nozzle, so I just squeezed harder and learned a valuable lesson about squeezing too hard and how it can cause accidents. Yeah, I think I phrased that right. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of paint. I was able to scoop some up and put it back in the pot, but it made me sad. I'm just glad that the whole spill was contained on the palette, with the exception of a little bit that got outside. That is very lucky. So, not gonna let this get me down. If that's the worst I have, then that's wonderful news. But yeah, tragedies with paint pots, they happen. Those things can spill. All right, let's see here. Ooh, that yellow is still a little too strong. Can't see what I'm doing, but just using the paper towel to make the color a little drier on the brush. And then we're gonna do just a little bit of dry brushing. It's a technique that's used a lot in makeup, as I understand. And the result, and I'm just being intentionally light here, is that we go from a darkened, not very even blend of browns and greens to form the grass on the base, to a more vibrant final product. And if the quality is good enough, and if the lighting is good enough, and you can see the difference between the one on the left, which I just dry brushed, and the one on the right, which I did not, then there you go. That, I don't know. If you see it, you see it. That's the difference. I'm gonna lower this. And this thing I just lowered is the lamp. Well, you can definitely see where the one on the right looks more, washed. But yeah, it makes a very good difference, very big difference, and it's easy to do. And I confused how I placed them. Forgot which one I'm on. All I'm gonna do, just to kind of finish these up, is dry brush the demonic yellow. Don't know what makes it demonic, but that's what the color is called, onto these grains of sand on the bases. And then I'm going to just check over each of these. There might be a few more touches I want to make. I might try to do just a little bit of highlighting just because I want to practice it. I want to get better at it. I want to look at a model and say, I'd like to give this one a good edge highlight on that part of the armor, and then actually do it and achieve what I'm trying to achieve. That's just my goal. Not too much. I don't want to make it a ton of work, especially for these rank and file infantry, which I'm behind schedule on. And you can't even see a damn thing I'm doing because I'm doing it all off camera. Why do I even have a camera on? But I just want to make sure I'm getting practice on some of the techniques that I find a little bit trickier as I go. And now the yellow's starting to disappear. So let's grab a little bit more onto the brush and do as Bob Ross would say and beat the devil out of it, but not really. Just kind of brush it gently on the paper towel. And then, oh yeah, that's a lot better. You can't see it. You're not included. And even if you could, the lighting's not good enough. Like, why am I doing this? The lighting's not really that great. But the good thing is, like, on this one, I went way overboard with the yellow, but that just looks like dandelions to me. You know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Go away. It's fine. Yeah, and then let's just get this last one here. This is one that's going on the front rank, so maybe do a good job of this one, sir. Painter guy, person who is doing this. After I finish this dry brush, which I literally just did, probably all off camera. I didn't even check that last one. Then I'm going to take a quick look at each one, maybe do a few extra finishing touches, little bit of highlighting if I'm feeling ballsish. And then I'll probably just do one more coat of green skin around the rim of the base. And then I'll call it a day. Let's see. Man, I feel really good about this one. Yeah, the wash does a lot of work. I could make it a little bit better, but I'm not going to do that. This guy, he be screaming a little bit. Got to psych himself up a little. Yeah, I should probably restore some of the bronze of the pole arm, huh? Because the wash kind of did a number on it. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I want him to look dirty. Not dirty. Just a little bit darkened without looking oily. But they look oily. Yeah, this would be a good one to practice some highlighting on. I could do different colors on like this lower part of his uniform. And then I could also just dot some of the base color in those diamonds on his gambeson on the back there. That would be really good practice that I'm going to have to get another time. I'll practice more on the characters. I will. The more I say it, the more likely I'm not full of crap. That's a burp. Good old burp. Yeah, I'm ready to just put these guys in the unit. I'm just gonna go around the bases with that green skin color. So, oh, I hate it when I make that smack sound, and I know I'm gonna hear that if I were to go back and I haven't really gone back and watched these uploads, but if I did, that wasn't a very good one. That's all I would hear. Let's. Yeah, this color I've already used a lot of, and if I, keep using it, I'll run out of it. So better I just don't paint, right? Because then I won't ever run out. Better that I just buy them and then just never use them. That's what a smart person would do. That was a joke. That was a hilarious joke. Anyway, I use this color a lot more, especially because I use it so much for the grass and, of course, the bases. So every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to buy another bottle of this someday. Oh, curses. Pork butts. I did. Okay, all right, should be fine. Yeah, I have to leave dried paint at the nozzle there, and I have to clear it out before it. Well, it's not dried, but it's gonna be. And I don't let that happen. Let me drop just a reasonable amount of water on the little blot of paint I just put on the palette. Let me mix it with the water a little bit so it's thinner. Doesn't have to be a whole lot thinner, but it's a second coat, so it definitely don't need to be thick. This is just the green skin color going to go around the rims of the bases so they look finished based on my arbitrary, but because they're mine, perfect standards. Beep. All I really did off camera for these men-at-arms is, as you can see, all the metallics. I did, oh yeah, I need to revisit those. The metallics and the shields. I think I did the crystal blue part of the shields on camera, but I freehanded the, what is this? What is that? I freehanded the violet coven colored crosses off camera. But hey, I've already freehanded on camera. I freehanded that axe symbol on one of my Knights of the Realm. That knight is in a box over there. You can't see where I'm pointing. You know for a fact I'm not pointing because my hands are occupied. But I'm pointing, I'm psychically pointing. That's the extent of my telekinetic power. I can actually use my mind to point at something. But you have to be a psychic to see it. So let's wrap this up. And then my question for myself is, do I want to try finishing this unit of men-at-arms today real quick before I move on to the orcs that I really need to hurry up and work on? I want to, but should I? Would I be a fool? I mean, there's only 4 models. They won't take that much work, really. There's a little bit more than the average model for at least a couple of them, because one of them is a standard bearer. Not a battle standard bearer, just a standard bearer for the unit. Just for the men at arms. The men which are at arms. But I don't know. I mean, the standard's really not that much extra work. I can just use a bigger brush and just put that crystal blue color all over it. And then a tiny bit of freehand and it's done. It's done. Do that and it's done. Done it. Done. Did it. Okay, what am I getting on here? Like, what is that? Let me just... All right. Sometimes the second coat of a color still doesn't look like it goes on very well. But once you let it dry, you find, oh, it actually did. Other times it doesn't and you're still wrong. The difference is, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say it out loud so I don't forget it. Self, go back and just touch up the polearm bits, just the weapon part of them a little bit. No pun intended. Just put a little bit more weapon bronze, that is the name of the color, on those. And you're going to use this brush that you're holding to do it. And you're guaranteed to do it because you've said it to yourself so many times, this is all to me, that you will not forget it. Because if I don't, then they're still going to look oily from where the Nuln Oil wash dried, kind of in pools on the flat surfaces. I tried to put it on flat surfaces thinly because I wanted to darken it, but not quite. Well, do what I did and leave pools of the shade on there. I guess what the thing you're supposed to do in that case is mix it with a little bit of a darker color, like a little bit of matte black or something like that. Or gloss black if you have it, which I don't. And that way you get that darker finish, but you don't leave, pools of wash on there, over glazed or whatever. That's a burp. Gonna use some of that. Not the burp. It's a little bit of this metallic. And what's going to be hilarious, what's going to be just absolute comedy, is when I grab the bases by, or grab the models by the edges of the bases that I literally just did, because I usually save that for the very, very end of a paint job. So because I just did it, I'm going to forget that I did it. I'm probably going to do it on the first guy, probably going to do it right here. Oh my goodness, I somehow didn't do it. It's an actual miracle. It's like a Christmas miracle or something, a little out of season. Yeah, good. Why is there a bubble there? No, go away. So I have to hold it like a little bit of a psycho, because I don't want to touch the part I just painted. Because that's a rookie move. Okay, I tried to stay out of like the pockets and some of the more concave edges that I already washed over with the dark shade. Ooh, did you see that? I mean, you didn't, because it was impossible for you to see because it was off camera. But did you see that? I just started to touch the edge of the base. Just started to do the thing. If you see me do it, tell me to stop. I won't hear you because that's impossible, but you also won't see me do it because it's off camera, because the only thing you can see is the part I'm trying to paint. So you don't know. You don't know, you ignorant fool. Next one. Oh, yeah, this is a really good example of what I'm talking about. Like, you can just see down at the bottom where those little rivets are, just how much the shade has pooled up in a way that I did not intend for it to. Just trying to brighten that up a little bit. Yeah, it happened again there too. I already covered it up, but it did. Just make these look a little bit better. Okay, that's 3 out of 6. Basic arithmetic suggests there's still 3 left. But who really knows? And aha, I can touch it on the very bottom. One risk that I run by holding the models the way that I do while I'm painting them instead of using a proper handle is it's easier to just drop them. And I've done that a few times, not a ton, but a few. So that's something to think about if you're ever doing this, is a painting handle. Smacking. Okay, I gotta stop acknowledging it. That's not cool to acknowledge it. The painting handles may be costly, or of course making your own is a lot cheaper in terms of money, but it takes a little bit of time and materials to do. But part of the benefit is that you're reducing the chances of dropping the models that you're trying to work on while you're holding them. Like that one just now that I almost dropped. I literally almost dropped it. It would have been a 1.5 inch drop onto the table I was working on. Would have been fine. Polystyrene adhered with plastic cement. It would have survived the fall. But what if it bounced? What if it bounced and fell to the floor? Would have fallen apart. Would have humptied and dumptied, and I would have sighed, and I probably would have gone in frustration. And then I'd still upload this, and well, I'd be embarrassed. Okay, good job. Good job, everyone. We did it. The 6 of them are ready to join the unit. And none too soon either. They're going to join this unit over here. There's going to be 18 of them total. As you can see, there's 8 there. These 6 make 14. And then these 4 added to the 14 make 18. See, we got a musician who's got himself a drum that he has to pick back up every time they move, I guess. That's the unit champion. I forget what they're called. Yeoman, I think, but that might be just for the bowman unit. And then there's the Grail monk, whose head is very much bald and very much in shadow. He's got himself a blessed triptych. And there's the standard bearer. Looks to be carrying a mace or perhaps a spiked club. And once all that's done, guys, I'll have a unit of men-at-arms. Yeah.